Hello, welcome to the Far North Food Forest and Solar Winds Creative. You joined us in our studio before this latest video from the Far North Food Forest to make you aware of complex regional pain syndrome, or CRPS. It's the awareness month, this month of November. You may also notice orange being used as an illustration to show you that CRPS is a real disease that anybody could get, and there isn't enough awareness of it. So please look it up, Google it, AI it, look on YouTube, look on this channel, make yourself aware of it, particularly if you work in medicine, in a hospital or doctor's surgery, so you can recognise the early signs. I've had it for 3 years and it can be life-changing in many ways. I still can't walk properly after 3 years, so make yourself aware of it and of how you can help if you want to help people with it. This is a studio. You might have noticed just behind my head there are a couple of grey legs. They belong to a blue emu. I used to take these round to my trips to schools when I was promoting Loch May Monster, my series of books, or The Sound of the Wind. There will be a 4th book coming out quite soon, I hope before Christmas or by Christmas. And a 5th book will be coming out, and that's the first I've ever mentioned that. So there will be a 5th book in the Loch May Monster series. Quite a lot of botanical books in here. You can see gardening books just behind me. What else? The guitar there, I write some of the songs. There's Graham Mahog as my musician name, or I use the piano just here. Out of that window, which is now dark now, is our pond, and some bird feeders, and a spider plant, which is cleaning the air for us and giving you a bit of extra oxygen, very tiny amount. And various microphones over there. Books here. Those books are botanical books going back to the Regency period, talking about botanical discoveries and botany back then. And also there are books in here about food forests and so on, as you would expect. My wife, the illustrator of my books, also a drawer of many extraordinary pictures of animals. She works next door. Maybe we'll show you what she does at a later date. Anyway, let's get on with the video and stop me jabbering on. So this is the next video for you from the Far North Food Forest. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our forest for helping us to get closer to nature than we were before.
The moon took a hold of the darkness. I could read it a hold of the breeze. I felt the ground shake beneath me and brought me down in my knees. The sun took a hold of the
So welcome back to our food forest today. I'm just going to have a look along here. Caragana arborescens, commonly known as the Siberian pea. We have the Siberian pea in here. We've got extra nitrogen to the ground. That's going quite well here. So here we go. So I placed this in an area that I thought it would have a good effect on the plants around it. So if you think about this plant, Siberian pea, in its name is the clue, it is a pea, so it is nitrogen fixing. But arborescens tells you also it could grow to the size of a tree, and that can be 15 to 20 feet, either up or wide. So the problem with where I've put this, I have put it close to these fruit trees, and so I wanted to get it between 2 and 4 metres away. And 4 metres is perhaps the optimum, and it's a just over 2 metres away from the apple tree there, and a similar distance away from the plum tree over here. So it should have the maximum nitrogen fixing effect. But around it, it's got lots of black currants, so I'm not sure how much it's going to be helping them or competing with them. But at the moment, they're growing really, really well, but they're actually competing for light with the apple tree. And with this Siberian pea also turning into quite a large tree in itself, there may be a need for me to either cut this back or move it altogether. And I'm opting for the cutting back, so I'm going to take some cuttings from this today. So if you can just differentiate from where it is, see here we've got lots of black currants which we're going to be cutting back. We have no problem growing black currants up here, and here's the Siberian pea. So I've already started to cut some of this back. You can take cuttings 6 to 12 inches, put them into some gritty compost or sandy compost. This time of year, take a woody cutting and they'll do quite well. So there's some cuttings here I want to take back this little way. Remember, I'm going to take a cutting. I need to get it just above a bud, so just above the bud here, and take a cutting off there, making sure there's plenty of the rest of the stem there. So we'll cut that one off right there, and we'll also take this one off just over here, again just above the bud. I'm also going to take this one back just here, just above this bud. So we'll take those cuttings and then we'll show you what we do with them next. Nothing sophisticated, a quick look really. So just put them around the edge of these pots. Some of these cuttings aren't as precise as you'd like. Maybe you're thinking this is either too thin or too short, and you're ideally looking for that sort of pencil size. But for me, I often try and have a go with something that everybody says that won't work, because what am I losing in the end? I'm not losing anything. These will probably go in the compost heap, and they may even grow themselves. No, they won't grow in the compost heap, but it's worthwhile just giving a try to 1 or 2 bits that you perhaps think, oh no, that won't work, because sometimes it does. So what more can I say about the Siberian pea? It's very tough, it's drought resistant, it's good in this area. We're in a very damp area, it seems to work very well. It's going to improve the soil that you have, so in that sense it's quite sustainable because it's going to help the land long term. It can be used, the root system can be used for sort of erosion control, or maybe almost the opposite. You could have it as a windbreak. Again, it does quite well in the wind up here. So this is a great plant, great for a food forest, has so many different qualities. I'd highly recommend it. Get out there and find somebody that has some of these Siberian peas. So the reason for growing this Siberian pea is not just because of its nitrogen fixing. Of course, that will improve the soil, but the main reason for growing it is for the food content itself that will give. So you can eat the peas, they come in pods, same as any other pea, maybe only about 4 to 6 in there, quite small, so they might take a little bit of collecting. But the good thing about them is that there's over 30% protein and up to 12% fats or fatty oils, and fairly low in carbohydrates. So this is a good source of protein, and also it can be used a little bit like lentils. You could even make flour out of it. So it's a very good food source indeed. So the important thing to remember with these peas, Siberian peas, that you cook them up. I have seen them eaten raw, but you're best cooking them up and using them like lentils, for example. The tree itself, it is a tree. Arborescens, as I said, means tree-like, 20 foot by 15 wide maybe. Then you need to be maybe 4 meters away from a tree and another tree because they might compete. So as I said, the plum tree and the apple tree probably just about okay, but these blackcurrants will be competing. But they're competing for light anyway, so some of these are going to take out and take away, so they're not taking any more light away from the apple trees and the plum trees behind them. But I will have to cut this back regularly, but I'm going to use this really to make and create successive trees with by taking cuttings as I have done today. The other thing to remember, I suppose, the Caragana, I think that's been Latinised. I think it's a Mongolian word, so Caragan. And it comes from Siberia, as the name suggests, but also Mongolia and parts of China as well. But it seems to be well suited to the conditions here, seems to grow quite well. So this has been an experiment really before I spread it around the croft. It is known in some areas to be a little bit invasive, but if you're managing it within a forest, there shouldn't be a problem. So it's going to help with your soil and many other things. So a great thing to have. I'm pleased that it's grown well here.